Ever felt like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place? You know, when the solution to a problem seems like it might actually make things worse. Well, there's a fascinating old story that perfectly captures this dilemma, and it offers a surprisingly deep insight into leadership, politics, and even our own daily decisions. Let's dive into the tale of the fox and the hedgehog. Imagine this: a clever fox, usually so nimble and sharp, is trying to cross a raging river. The current is just too strong. It grabs him, tossing him around like a leaf in the wind. He struggles with all his might, but the river carries him far downstream. Finally, bruised, exhausted, and barely conscious, he manages to drag himself onto a patch of dry land. He collapses, completely unable to move. It's a pretty dire situation, right? But it gets worse. As he lies there, helpless, a huge swarm of horseflies descends upon him. These aren't just any flies, they're the nasty, biting kind. They settle all over his body and start feasting on his blood. The fox is so weak he can't even twitch his tail to brush them away. He's just a living buffet for these relentless pests. Think about that for a moment. He survived a near drowning, only to be slowly drained of his remaining life force. Just when all hope seems lost, a kind-hearted hedgehog happens to wander by. He sees the fox's terrible predicament, covered in this buzzing, blood-sucking cloud. The hedgehog, being a helpful creature, immediately wants to do something. He approaches the fox and asks, "My poor friend, you're in a dreadful state. Those flies are tormenting you. Shall I use my spines to brush them all away for you?" Now, what would you expect the fox to say? "Yes, please, get them off me." Right. That seems like the obvious answer. But the fox's response is completely unexpected. He opens one weary eye, looks at the hedgehog, and says, with what little strength he has left, "Oh, please, no, don't do that. Not on any account." The hedgehog is stunned. Why would the fox refuse help? The fox then explains his logic, and this is where the real lesson of the story unfolds. He says, "Listen, these flies that are on me now, they've already had their fill. They're fat and content. They're not taking much blood from me anymore. But if you drive them away, a whole new swarm will come. A fresh, hungry swarm. And they will suck out every last drop of blood I have left. They'll leave me completely drained." Let that sink in. The fox chose the lesser of two evils. He realized that a familiar, satisfied problem was better than a new, ravenous one. This story, famously told by the ancient philosopher Aristotle, isn't just about animals. He used it to illustrate a powerful political point. He argued that it's often wiser to keep corrupt but established rulers in power than to replace them constantly. Why? Because the old rulers have already enriched themselves. They've filled their pockets, so to speak. But new rulers come in hungry for power and wealth, and they might exploit the people even more ruthlessly to get what they want. It's a cynical view, perhaps, but it makes you think. It's the classic idea of better the devil you know than the devil you do unt. We see this play out in so many areas of life. In business, a company might stick with a flawed but functioning system rather than risk a complete overhaul with a new, untested one. In our personal lives, we might stay in a job or a situation that is imperfect because the fear of the unknown is even greater. The new swarm of flies could be anything: a worse boss, an unstable financial situation, unforeseen complications. The fox's choice was a calculated risk based on his limited energy and resources. He knew he couldn't survive another major attack. So, what can we take away from this? It teaches us to think critically about solutions. Sometimes the most obvious fix isn't the best one. It encourages us to look at the bigger picture and consider the potential downstream consequences of our actions. Are we just swapping one set of problems for another, potentially worse set? This doesn't mean we should never change things or fight against injustice. Of course not. It's not a call for apathy, it's a call for strategy. It's about choosing your battles wisely and understanding the full cost of change. Before you brush away the flies in your life, take a moment to ask yourself, what happens next? Is a swarm of hungrier ones waiting in the wings? And do I have the strength to face them if they come? Sometimes enduring a known hardship is the most strategic path to eventual recovery and strength. It's a powerful lesson in pragmatism, survival, and looking beyond the immediate problem to see the whole chart. So next time you're faced with a difficult choice, remember the wise, exhausted fox. It might just help you see the situation in a whole new light. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more ancient wisdom that still rings true today. See you in the next video.